There is growing alarm over a cheap and highly addictive synthetic drug known as Flakka. It causes all sorts of paranoid, even deadly behavior. In South Florida, it's being compared to the crack cocaine epidemic of the 80s, and it's often sold through the mail. Our senior investigative correspondent, Cynthia McFadden, has the story from the epicenter of the epidemic, Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale is under siege from a new synthetic drug called Flakka. It's creating a crisis for county resources and sending 20 users a day to the overwhelmed emergency room.
They have superhuman strength, they're psychotic, belligerent. It takes a lot of people to hold them down.
People like these, often stripping off their clothes as their temperatures soar up to 105 degrees. Flakka-related deaths in Broward County in the last year, 60.
Of all the drugs that I've seen, cocaine, amphetamines, heroin, Dilaudid, Oxycontin, this is the absolute worst.
Part of its appeal, it's so cheap.
$5 will get you high.
$5 will get you high.
I remember just running, feeling like people were chasing me.
In March, Stephanie thought she was smoking pot, but it was laced with Flakka, a white granular powder.
Where did you end up? On top of a bridge?
On top of a bridge, but I still was seeing people chase me and was still completely paranoid, so I jumped.
Falling 3 stories into the water.
30 seconds!
Fort Lauderdale police say most of their drug raids these days are for Flakka.
Fort Lauderdale Police Department search warrants! Let me see your hands!
This raid yielding 140 doses and multiple users. Down the street at the Fort Lauderdale bus terminal, we saw 3 deals go down in under an hour.
The guy in the white t-shirt with the black pants?
The heavyset guy
Yeah.
that's clapping his hands, yes.
Yeah. Known dealer.
Yes, ma'am.
Flakka is manufactured in China. It has been easily bought online and delivered in the mail here in the U.S.
Some of the companies even offer, if your product is seized by authorities, we'll replace it free of charge.
Dealers can get rich quick. A kilo that costs $1,500 online has a street value of $50,000.
This is the Silicon Valley of drug smuggling.
And it doesn't take a large drug smuggling organization to bring it in.
Sometimes the organization is a college kid who hires his friends.
There's not much of a barrier here for a startup.
We're calling it the devil's drug.
Ray Rapaglia runs a drug rehab center in Fort Lauderdale and says Flakka users present a challenge.
We're not as inclined to accept them in our program because we know that they might relapse. They pose safety threats to the rest of our residents.
But he decided to take a chance on Stephanie. Now 8 months clean and living, she says, for her daughter.
I know for sure that I'm lucky to be alive right now. It's by the grace of God that I'm alive.
Flakka, also known as gravel, has spread to other parts of the country, including Chicago, Houston, and Kentucky, as well as New York. Under pressure from the U.S., the Chinese recently made the manufacturing and exporting of Flakka illegal. The effect here in the U.S. is yet to be seen.
Some frightening stuff, though. Cynthia. Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.
You know, living here in America, it does make you wonder if we have any hope. Because I'm sure some of you out there, just like me, have said to yourself, what in the world is going on in Florida that is causing people to be literally eating people? I mean, literally eating people, cannibalizing people in the flesh. I mean, it's utterly amazing what's happening right now. You know what? They say that this drug is coming from China. Of course, everything comes from China, right? Including most of our goods and services that we buy at Walmart. But they say it's coming from China. And I'm telling you, America is quickly becoming a mentally insane society. Apparently, the breeding ground for this drug is in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And over 60 people this year have died from its uses. And of course, I'm going to include an interview at the end of this right here about a woman who said it seems like that what it makes her feel like, because she was smoking, check this out, marijuana or crack or something like that. And it was laced with this cheap recreational street drug called Flakka, street name gravel. And it made her feel like as if people were chasing her to the point that she stripped off her clothes butt naked, ran because the causes the temperature of the body to come up high. That she literally jumped off a bridge 3 stories into water. Now that's her experience, and that was a very light experience. Can you imagine what happens when somebody ODs? When you get a very heavy overdose of this, can you imagine what takes place? Well, those of us who often talk about humans losing their mind, and then there's going to literally be a zombie apocalypse. Kind of like conspiracy theories, right? I don't think that we're lunatics or going crazy after all. As a matter of fact, this drug is so powerful now that it cannot even be ignored. Flakka is a Spanish term it's like a term of endearment for someone who is an elegant, beautiful woman of a very graceful status. But this drug right here produces far from it, And you think about this. The children that are going to college, in colleges now, drugs run rampant up there, and the street price is $5. And man, we're losing society. And people don't have any hope. There's no hope. I believe it's basically because of what's happening. Our government has literally sold the country down the tubes. No, the government doesn't force anybody or make anybody take these drugs, but they do allow them in. Don't tell me with all the drug enforcement agencies that we have in this country that they can't keep this stuff from coming in. I don't believe it one bit. I really truly don't believe it one bit. But people, they just make so much money off of it. They said in one report that if you can buy a bag of this stuff for $1,500, the street value is $50,000. Now, why in the world would somebody want to go out and try to get what you call a legitimate job, making a dismal minimum wage, working your fingers to the bone, when you can sit out on a street corner and make $5,000 to $10,000 a week? And see, that's what is happening now. That's exactly what's happening now. You don't never know what's going to happen to you. You never really know. Myself personally is again, I'll say it again. You need to become mutually assistants with people who you can trust, because it's getting very, very, your circle, your sphere of influence is getting very, very small with people who you can literally trust, the people who you think you can trust. After being tested, proven, and tried, you see that there's no integrity, literally no integrity in their heart whatsoever at all. Again, Pastor Dow, my suggestion is that you learn how to live a quiet and peaceful life. You get your people out of these cities, because where do you see it's happening? The people literally going insane in the cities. As a matter of fact, even these rehabilitation centers don't even want these people in their programs. I guess it's just another chalk up for me, having the wisdom, been telling you over 20 years, whether it be on AM, FM radio stations, shortwave stations, internet radio, YouTube, Facebook, or whatever. I've been telling you for many years of what to do to prepare yourself for what's taking place and what's happening. Because somebody come out here to my house acting like that and crazy and stuff like this, all screwed up on drugs. And they also said that they don't even have any detection process right now for this particular drug in the system of someone. I personally believe that we're quickly headed to a point of no return, because this is demonic. This is something like you will see on video games and stuff, but it's a reality, and it's happening live, and it's taking place right now. You better save yourself. This is what you better do, and start listening to people that will inform you of what's taking place, and stop ignoring the spiritual side of things. The spiritual side is real. It is very real. And when you got people going out here killing people and then eating them live on the side of the street or in the garage, there's only one thing left after that. It's a bullet or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, just in order to protect yourself. But don't put anything in your body that you don't know where it comes from. I mean, we're already playing Russian roulette over here. We got Russia that's got enough sense to not even let the United States bring its GMO modified seeds and foods into the country, and yet we're modifying everything. And what's happening? People are being modified. People are losing cognitive reasonings. I mean, it's sad what's going on. But check it out. Hey, I got to report on this because, you know, I need to report on this because I would hate to hear someone that I know has been a victim of someone who decided to get on these drugs because they simply can't cope with the world and the life today. And hey, is this also the new suicide drug? When you take so much of it, you start acting so demonic and stuff that death is ultimately the solution. It's a sad situation. Come out of those cities. Get around people you can trust so you can have a tight 360. And be selective of the people who you allow in your life. And that's the truth. And that's the truth straight way.